Hello guys, so in this one we're going to look at a feature James Batchelor did for Car Dealer magazine fairly recently about the 10 fastest and slowest depreciating new cars in the UK. Now this information is based on cap HPI data, so it's kind of book price data if you like. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to buy cars at this price, alright, but it's kind of the market guide for where the pricing should be. So take some of it, not with a pinch of salt, but don't take it as read that if you see that you can buy a car on here for 20 grand, doesn't mean there's going to be necessarily one available to you at 20 grand, all right? But it should give you a decent flavour of the cars that are depreciating slower than the others and the ones that are depreciating faster than the others. Without being patronising, depreciation is where something reduces in value over time. Okay, so let's take a look. You might know James Batchelor. He used to do car buyer reviews on YouTube, and he's a motoring journalist, has been for a fair while. He now does a YouTube channel called Batch Reviews, Batch B-A-T-C-H as in Batchelor, and it's really good. He's got quite a unique presenting style. He's got some very dodgy trousers, but he's a good guy and does some good videos. He's also following me on Twitter, and maybe you should do the same. Think about that. And please give this video a thumbs up while we're at the self-plug-in stage, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Thanks. Okay, so let's start at the start. That seems like a good place to go, doesn't it? So, slowest depreciating new cars. So these are cars you can buy now, and in 3 years' time, it's going to have retained more of its value than the rest. So number one on the list is the Porsche 718 Cayman 4-litre GT4. The GT4 version of the Cayman is a very special car, okay? And I think they're in limited supply, maybe. And some of these, you know, will be in limited supply. Hence, they retain their value better. So this one, list price new, is 78,500. Resale value 56,800, and retained value after 3 years is 72.4% of the new price, which is astounding. It's very, very good. These are the kind of cars as well where in years to come it could be worth an absolute cartload if the car's kept in very, very good condition, doesn't have crazy miles on it, kept original. You know, one day that might be worth a serious amount of money, but obviously years away. Number two is the Lamborghini Urus, which is the Lamborghini SUV. List price on that one's 174 grand, nearly 175. Resale after 3 years, 110 grand, so it retains 63% of its value. Got the Porsche Macan there, goes from 61 grand to 38, so retaining 62.4. The Alpine A110 1.8 turbo Legende GT, 59 grand new on that one, dropping down to 36.5, so that retains 61.9%. We're seeing a bit of a pattern here, aren't we? They tend to be either premium cars, sports cars, or premium sports cars. So the Porsche Taycan 4S, particularly the 4S, and it's the 79 kilowatt hour version, 83.5 grand down to 50 grand, so it retains nearly 61%. And then the 911 again. How many Porsches have we had so far? Is it 3? 4 of the top 6 are Porsche. Wow. Porsche 911 Carrera PDKs, that's the automatic gearbox. 87 grand nearly, goes down to 52.8, so that retains nearly 61% again. And here we go, it's not a Porsche, wow. And it's not a sports car, wow. It's a Range Rover Evoque. This one's the P250R Dynamic S. And that drops from 42.5 to 25, so that's 59% of its value. Then the new Defender, again, keeps 59% of its value, goes from 54 down to 32 after 3 years. Then we've got a Tesla in here. This is the Tesla Model 3 long range, 49,990 down to 29,100, so that retains 58.2% of its value after 3 years. The interesting thing with some of these EVs is how the battery's going to be after 3 years, and then not only that, but how the battery's going to be after 6 years, 8 years. Because, you know, we know that the batteries do degrade over time, and that's the long range version, so you bought it because you want your 300 miles plus of range. But in 6-7 years, maybe that's only doing 180 now, or 200, or 230 or something. So I don't know if the next 3 years is the depreciation's going to be worse on those for that degradation reason. So it'll be interesting. Where are we? Porsche Cayenne E-Hybrid. This one starts off at 71 grand, drops down to 41 grand. So it retains 57.6% after 3 years. So now we're going on to the fastest depreciating. Okay, number one. Oh my lord. Really? 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 So the Audi A8 55 TFSI Quattro Vorsprung edition. Maybe the clue's there. The Vorsprung editions are always silly expensive. List price 106 grand. Drops down to 29. So you could get a 3-year-old A8 55 TFSI Quattro Vorsprung for similar money to like a new A6 base spec, I guess. Maybe less, if you can actually buy one for that. Retain value 27% after 3 years. Yuck. This one's maybe not so much for surprise. The Vauxhall Combo Life 1.2 Turbo 130 Elite goes from 28 grand down to 8 grand. Retain value 28.8%. Now, this is actually a really mega practical, useful family car. And you could even use it if you're a tradesman for sort of both. I guess slidey doors on the back, which is great if you've got child seats and stuff like that. So they're massively practical, but they don't look great, do they? You know, it is a Postman Pat kind of mobile. And the Vauxhall badge, like, I don't know, it's not like a particularly desirable car. It's the kind of car that you get because you need something like that, not because you want or you desire it. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not massively surprised by that one being at number 2. Number 3 is the Fiat 500. What? Convertible 1 litre pop. I guess not that many people want a convertible one. And starts off at nearly 16 grand. Resale price 4,650. 29% of retained value. Again, this falls in the same category as that Audi, really. So it's the S-Class Coupe S560 Grand Edition. 125 grand new, 36,800 after 3 years, 29% of its value. So that's lost like 90 grand in 3 years. Wow. Again, if you compare that to what you could get a new car for, I mean, my Volvo XC40 would cost that, I think, maybe 300 quid less if you were to buy it new. And I'll tell you what, I'd rather have that Merc, although it probably does about 8 gallons to the mile rather than miles to the gallon. But I mean, that is an absolutely awesome car. Peugeot 108 1 litre 72 active drops from just under 13 down to 4, 31% retained. Mercedes SL 500 Grand Edition 89 down to 29, 33% retained. This is an interesting one as well. BMW 2 Series Active Tourer 28 down to 9, retaining just under 33%. I thought that might have retained a little bit more than that, because there aren't too many cars in this sort of bracket anymore. It's not a 7-seater, but it's that cut down, like the B Class and the the Space Tourer. BMW 2 Series convertible M240i Nav Auto. I'm massively surprised by this, because I think it ticks a couple of different boxes. 45 grand down to 15 after 3 years at 33%. That's mental. A Vauxhall Astra 1.5 Turbo D SRI Nav. So this is quite a high spec one, and you've got the turbo diesel engine, which pushes the price up a bit. 23.5 grand down to 7,900, 33% retained value. What you probably find on that is an Astra that costs 19 grand is worth 7,900 or 7,500. So it's just that extra spec is not really, a depreciation on the extra spec is much faster than the depreciation on the car, if you get what I mean, which you probably don't, because I've explained it really badly. A Citroen 1.5 Space Tourer Blue HDI 120 Business M. List price 37 grand. Resale price 12.5 after 3 years. Retained value 33.8. It's kind of commercial minibus kind of thing, really, isn't it? But I guess there's not such a huge market for it, but I don't know, maybe would have expected it to hold a bit more than that, to be fair, because it ticks a box that not many others do. So there we go. Hope you like that one, guys. It's a bit of a quick one, and I think it's just interesting to see what bargains there are potentially out there, and which cars are a really bad idea to buy new, like the Audi A8 55 TFSI Quattro Vorsprung edition, for example. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? And look at that. Like, if you're in the market for buying yourself a nice 3 Series or a 5 Series BMW or an Audi A6 or even a C-Class or E-Class Mercedes, you know, consider a 3-year-old one at that kind of price, that started off at that kind of price. Whoa. Wow. Please give the video a thumbs up, please subscribe if you haven't already, and please look in the video description. There are lots and lots of ways you can support the channel. At the time of writing, I'm still not monetized, so you can jump onto there and go onto my website. There's a support me page which has got links to my affiliates like Amazon, BOTB and Haynes, and you can also buy me a coffee, which is really nice. Quite a few people have done that, and it's really nice of people to do it, and I do spend it on coffee, so thanks very much.